All right, I'm gonna hit go live.
Ready.
All right, it says we're live, but it always takes a minute to. There we are.
Yours was just a hair quicker than mine. But yay,
There we
it's
go.
working.
Hi, everyone.
I love how someone said hi from rainy Blaine, Washington, which is close to me, and then someone said from sunny Minnesota, which is close to you. So
That's close to
apparently it's
me.
sunny there and it's raining here.
It is actually really sunny out today, as you can see. Like, look at that window back there.
And you
I
probably
had to
can't see them,
shut
and
all
it's
the windows because it was just like, ah.
rainy today for me. So
All right.
hello,
Well, hi,
everybody.
welcome to today's combined sneak peek live of our next release.
Yes, we are excited. I'm seeing lots of chatter about better press
Yeah,
plates, and we did kind of hint that there might be a few. In fact, we're actually going to
yeah,
show a total of three of those today, I think.
are. And we're not only using them for better press. So, you're gonna get to see all of the different ways you can use these versatile plates. Heather really put them to the test when we did our first release, and we found they can be used in lots of ways. So they're super versatile. They're not just for better press. So kind of
Exactly.
exciting. Hi guys, the comments are hopping. So a couple things. It's a sneak peek live, so there's always more people because we are giving away a huge giveaway. Get to that later. Um, but uh, comments typically fly, and it's highly possible we're not going to have a moderator today. Kinnery may pop in here and there if she has a moment, but um, it's possibly just going to be Heather and I as well. So we may not catch everything that happens in the live
Mm,
chat today,
we'll
but
do
we are
our
happy
best,
you're
but
here.
no
Um,
promises.
awesome. So before we get going, let's just chat about our giveaway. How about do you want to go over that, Heather?
Yes. So not always, but we usually do a little bit of a bigger giveaway, sometimes a lot bigger, as in the case of today when we do these sneak peek lives, because we're so excited and we just want to share some of the fun. So today's giveaway is, and usually we do the big drum roll that I think Zoom mutes anyway, so you can't hear.
Yeah.
Yep.
Eardrum.
You're right. There you go. We are giving away the entire February release, and it is a big one. I don't have all of it in my head of how many, but there's stamps, dies, better press
I added it
plates,
up today. It was a
foil.
$493 value, retail
Wow.
value.
So this is a stellar giveaway today.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're all here and you all have a chance. So we will pick that at the end of the live. The way that you enter, and this is going to add to the fact that it'll probably be harder for Leah and I to keep up with the comments because everyone's going to be really motivated to be nice and chatty. Um, Chatting in the comments. We will pick from the comments for that giveaway. One extra way you can win an entry is by sharing this video. You can share it in your own on your own social media, in a message to a crafty friend. Just send them the link and say, hey, come chat and play with me. Or if you're part of a crafty group and you know it's allowed, feel free to share it there. And then come back and leave us another comment letting us know that you shared. And that way we know, and that can count as an entry. I'm seeing already some on there. I shared all in capital
I've shared,
letters.
I've shared. And then this is
So
not an extra entry into the giveaway, but something that's super helpful is if you could give this video a thumbs up. It helps us now while the video is live, but also on replay. So hopefully we'll find some people that maybe don't know about Pink Fresh Studio, don't know about our upcoming release. Just help get the video, the reach of the video out there a little bit further.
we're really grateful for that. And then finally, usually we list the supplies
Back
in
to my hot
our,
foil machine on.
oh, so I will probably be stamping first.
Yeah.
Um, we usually list the supplies we use in the video description because pretty much everything is new that we're using today. I think we could have listed inks, but we'll add those
Yeah.
later. Those were kind of a last minute decision. So we don't have those linked in the video description yet. We will add them. So if you're here on replay, hopefully those will be added under there. And then once the release goes live, we do pop in and add the links to the new product. So
Also,
if you have
I don't
any
think we
questions,
even mentioned the release goes live on Monday,
that's
February
important.
26th at 7 a.m. Central. So everything will be in the online shop. We'll have a blog hop happening that day, and then the intro video here on YouTube as well. tons of giveaways all over the place, more chances to win the entire release. Don't forget about that. So
Very
we
important.
always are really generous with giveaways during our release time. So
Yeah.
um,
All right. This
so pretty
should
much
be,
everything other than the inks and etc. are not available yet, but they will be available on Monday.
yeah.
All
Right. Should we
right.
switch our camera around and start here? Because
Yeah,
since your
well,
hot
I'm
foil
gonna
plate
let
is heating,
you, and my hot foil system just got turned on, so it's gonna be a few minutes. So stamp slowly.
like it's the live struggle because we always wait because if you turn it on too early, it turns itself off. And if you turn it, forget, then you
Yep.
go live. So totally fine. That's why we're glad there's two of us. So let's switch our camera around and then I'll show you what we're using today. Okay, there we go.
I am
Looks like a
going
pop.
to why can't I spotlight you?
I have no idea.
There we go, got it.
Okay. I don't know why though. It's still, at least on mine, I don't know if it did. Let's see if it did on the, even if we just go speaker mode, and I almost feel like that's a Zoom update that it's being funny about that. I'll let you figure that out. All right, so this is what we're going to be sneak peeking today. This set is called Making Things Happen. It's a beautiful red rubber cling stamp. It's got these fun details. So we did this one in a cling rubber. It just does a better job of getting those details a little better. And then it's got these couple sentiments that are, and I haven't even used this yet, you guys, this is brand new. So I haven't even popped out those sentiments. They just pop out just like that, fit back in like a puzzle piece. So I'll pop those out before I stamp. We've got the coordinating die that includes the die for that large sentiment. And then we also have the outline. So you can either cut just the outside, just the inside, or cut them both together to make a frame. And then of course we have the layering stencils to color that in. And then there's also a press plate, which Leah in a few minutes is going to use the hot foil, but I'm going to go ahead and get started with the stamp set. We kind of like to try and show these two different ways. So we kind of picked two different parts to use. So I'm going to start with, again, like I said, I'm going to pull out those center sentiment pieces and leave those on there. Let me move that out of the way just so I don't end up. And then I've got, I already pulled my foam shim out of the center of this because this is a cling rubber, so you don't need the foam piece in there. I do still have a couple just pieces of white cardstock. I found, I think my Misty has been very, very well loved. So that adds a little extra pressure that just helps me get a great impression. I can use a smaller panel of cardstock. I just like that extra space to be able to work around and stamp. And I can still use the pieces at the top and the bottom for extra layering or something else later. So I'm not too worried about that. All right. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to finish stamping this with detail black. So I'm going to stamp this in Rocky Slope to start with. So I've got it kind of making sure I have it really well lined up in that corner there. And then I'm going to ink it up in this. If you are new here, the reason we do that, generally speaking, is because our detail black ink is a hybrid ink, which means it takes a little bit of time to dry. So if you ink blend over it too quick, it's going to smear and mess up your impression. Amy, you know what the ink will get? It gets on the rubber there, but it's inset up enough that it doesn't give me any problems on the actual stamping. Get those outer edges there. I've noticed sometimes that those little edges, there we go. Sometimes with the stamp press, I just kind of have to hit like the corner on the outer edges. I'm going to hit just those corners again because I suspect I didn't ink them as heavily either. All right. And that's a good enough impression. This is just for me to line up my stencils really well. So is your hot foil, it looks like it's ready. So I'm gonna mute myself and let Leah take over.
All right, my hot foil system is ready to go. You can see the green, I've got the green light go ahead right there. So Heather used the cling stamp. I am going to use the press plate, which I have not removed from the packaging yet. So bear with me while you watch me destroy the back of this packaging, trying to get the press plate off. I don't know if anybody else destroys packaging when they're removing things that are stuck to it, but I'm really good at doing that. All right. I don't want to have any of the tape on there. So this is a press plate. So you can use this in the Better Press system, of course. But the cool thing about it is it also will foil beautifully. So I'm going to go ahead and stick the press plate onto my foil system, and I'm going to hit the timer button. So now we'll just wait. Once that timer button stops blinking, we will um, proceed with the foiling. So while it's heating up, I'm going to grab my die cut machine and get it ready for finishing up the foiling. So let's go ahead and get desk set up for that. And I'm going to need to get my bottle out of the way. So today I am going to foil in Prism foil, which is like a holographic silver. I'm going with a bit cooler toned colors today on my card. I typically go a little bit more warmer tone, but that, branch out, do something different. So I've already got my foil pre-cut. I've got some cardstock cut. I got a couple pieces cut just in case the foiling messes up. But what we've noticed is the press plates foil beautifully. So I think that we are going to be safe on that. All right, timer is done. So I'm going to remove the platform from the base first, just because mine's a little hard to remove and I don't want any shifting to happen with the foil. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this first. And then I am going to put the foil pretty side down on the press plate. I'm going to add my cardstock. This is 100-pound smooth white hammermill cardstock. And then the two shims that come with the machine. I'm putting the frosted green one first because it's the one that's heat resistant and the one that is supposed to go closer to the heat source. So now that the sandwich is made, I'm going to transfer this over to my Platinum 6 and just slowly run it through. I don't feel the need to go back and forth on this because our foil plates and press plates foil really nicely. And I just have never felt the need to go back and forth and run the risk of shifting that foil plate in there. So let's go ahead and see how it turned out, and it is totally perfect. So we've got the foiling done. We don't have time to solid foil today, so I'm going to go ahead and just set this extra piece aside, and I will foil it later on today when the live is over. But I got literally perfect foiling on this. So the solid foiling is even going to look really, really lovely. So we're done. I'm going to flip off my hot foil system and set it aside to cool. And I am going to put us back into gallery mode, and Heather can join us and we'll start ink blending together.
Yep, and I will unmute myself. I was typing an answer in the comments about the release, so I'll say it out loud again too, in case anyone was just chiming in. We're sneak peeking the release that goes live next Monday, the 26th. It's funny how yours is hot foiled, and on camera it almost looks like a similar gray tone to mine.
It really does, doesn't it?
When we're starting off. Yep.
Like if I kind of
be black at the
if I kind of glare it, you can see that it's foiling, but it does just look like gray.
Yep. Just kind of funny. At the end, mine will be black, so it'll totally look different.
All right, I'm gonna grab a couple of these. I do have to set up my desk space a little bit here for foiling, or excuse me, for blending. My grip mat is not large enough for my panel, so I'm gonna go my old school method here. Gonna tape this guy down to my glass mat. I am going to grab the stencil and make sure I have this the right orientation here. Sure do. Okay. Let me make sure that you can see this.
My panel's big, so I'm just taping it right onto my paper. Makes it really
nice.
easy.
And I'm gonna do mine in a different order from Heather. Heather, I think, is gonna start probably it looks like with stencil 1. I'm gonna do the flowers.
You know what?
First.
I can do whatever. Maybe I'll just do the same as you.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with stencil 2.
Yeah, I'll stick with this. I'll do this. Then we'll just see it come together in different ways.
I think that'll
Why not?
actually be kind of fun.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, no, I can do the same. Maybe actually, no, it'll be better to
Yeah,
get
I
some
think this will
variety.
actually be really fun to do in different order. So I kind of like to do things my own way. I like to do flowers before greenery. It's just like my preferred method of ink blending. And so I think it'll
Yeah.
be fun to watch these come together at different intervals.
Yep. And we always say it doesn't matter and you can do both ways. So this will just kind of prove that even more.
Exactly. And I totally botched my alignment there. So let me redo that.
Lori's asking if you can use the Pink Fresh inks for letterpress. Yes, you can.
Oh,
They press.
absolutely.
Um,
They
it's
press really
yeah.
nice, actually.
The main thing is that for water, if you try and use them with watercolor, that they will bleed and blend a little bit, except for detail black. But yes, we really love that. In fact, well, I'm thinking that while Leah's kind of getting set up there, let me pull out because that same plate that she hot foiled, I haven't done anything with it, but I do have the Better Press, and this was done with our Paradise
Oh,
ink.
that's pretty.
So just to prove that I got all these early and had to do a test run of everything. So I have them all done. I just haven't, carried through and finished them. So I did want to share that one.
Okay, so I am doing pink or pinkish, reddish pink, and purple flowers for my card today. What are you doing? Oh, you're doing greenery
I'm,
first.
I'm doing
Duh.
greenery first. So I'm starting with eucalyptus, one of the new greens. I'll just let the flowers be a surprise when I get there.
Perfect. All right, I am going to start on the outer edges because there's little berries on this image. So I am going to do my berries in begonia. So not red, but also not totally pink.
I love how simple this is with the flowers on this, that it's an easy one you can do all the flowers and stuff in one color, but it's really easy. No masking required to mix up and do different
Oh
colors.
no, they're
So
they're spread for far enough apart that you absolutely, especially have our little tiny, like our half-inch brushes or even our quarter-inch brushes. You have plenty of space to ink blend without having to um do any masking or anything.
yeah, it's kind of fun.
I'm gonna do these little flowers back here in begonia as well, and then I think the rest are gonna be purple. So much for all of your comments and um, chatter in the live. Once again, we are probably not going to be able to keep up with it much today because the comments are really flying. So, but we're glad you're here. Glad you're joining us today.
And if you've got an
And
important question that needs answered that no one else chimes in on, feel free to ask again and hope that we see it.
yeah, exactly. You may have to ask it a few times. We're going to try our best, but
Mhm.
all right, I'm going to switch over to Candy Violet to finish out the first layer of my flowers. And on these bigger flowers, I am going to try to get a little bit of gradation, so deeper at the base and a little lighter towards the outer edge of the flower. On those
And I'm
smaller
kind of doing the
flowers, I
same with
probably
my,
will not worry about it. Oh, sorry.
nope, I was just gonna say I'm kind of doing the same with my greenery and trying to get different. Connie, you asked if people use or if we use the press plate for memory keeping. We do have some great samples from our design team, especially the December, those floral frames. Those worked really good for framing up photos and stuff on layout.
Yeah, those were really great. So yeah, our scrapbooking team has definitely used our press plates for memory keeping projects as well.
Okay. As soon as you're done, it'll be two different reveals, but we can both peel ours off at the same time. So I'll wait for you. And taking the moments in between to check comments and stuff.
Great, I'm ready.
Okay,
Ready?
there we go. Mhm.
All right, there's the start.
Fun.
Not much so far, for
No,
me
I was gonna
anyway.
say mine has a little more, but it still kind of looks lame without the flowers on there. All right, so I'm just gonna go
Okay.
right in order. So my next layer will be the flowers.
And my
You're
next
probably
stencil is technically going to be stencil 4, which is the flower
details
details.
there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was guessing was gonna be the
And I
case.
am just going up to the next shade, and each which is Mulberry Blush and Regal Kiss.
Seconds. There we go. Lining up those
Now, a
flowers.
little tip just going to give a little tip on lining up the detail layer of the flowers. On the four larger flowers, there is actually a little petal that hasn't been blended in yet. So if you line up those four petals that haven't been blended in, the rest of the image pretty much comes together.
Laureen, the first color I used was Eucalyptus. And now I'm moving on. I'm going to use Sunkissed and Sparkling Rose for my flowers. So that's where I'm moving up to. So one of our older pink families, and then our newer orange. The blending brush. Those.
Right. I'm going to start on the outer edge and do the Mulberry Blush first. Mulberry Blush is it's very deep tone, so a little bit goes a long way. These are also very small details, so not a huge deal. Not really looking to add any gradation into these.
And I am doing my Sunkissed for all of my flowers, but I'm also going to come in and blend a little bit of that Sparkling Rose on all of them just for a little, and then of course keep the
That'll be
berries
pretty.
Yeah, I think so. We'll find out. I haven't mixed these two colors together, so here's hoping.
Absolutely.
All right.
I'm gonna wipe the Mulberry Blush off there and switch up to Regal Kiss. Regal Kiss, friends, is like extremely deep tone. So I'm going to try not to overpower my flowers too much, but sometimes you can't help but having a heavy hand with this color.
Yeah, that can be challenging.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sparkling Rose looks really pretty with Sunkissed.
Does it?
Yep. I like it.
Nice. All right, there's these little tiny inner pieces are really small. So I have found if you can kind of pounce the ink to get it in there, because they're just tiny little dots for those flower middles, which are already pretty darn small. So I've just found if you kind of pounce the ink in there, kind of gets it in there a little more concentrated.
Okay, good idea. Those little tiny openings.
Yeah,
There's a good chance they'll have bling on them anyway.
exactly.
We all know how that rolls. All right.
And then I'll just wait. I'm going to clean my brush out since it's
I'm almost
very
done.
deep tones here.
All right, I think that does it. Actually, hold on, I'm gonna come in
Whoa.
one tiny bit more with a little more Sunkissed just to blend on those bigger ones. So 1 second. Just want to get that little bit darker blend at the base of those. Those to pop a little bit. Okay, now I'm ready.
Okay, ready?
I'm ready. Okay, go.
All right. You're looking a little more put together so far.
Well, it's because I have the greenery. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I'm moving back to stencil 1, which is the start of the greenery, which Heather's already done.
Yep, but I'm doing my detail on my greenery now, so. Get that one on. So I'm just going through right in order.
All right. I'm down to just one color per stencil. And I am going to start this layer with Paradise, which is from our turquoise shades of ink.
And this detail greenery layer, it's perfect. There is another, there's a couple leaves that don't have color yet. So those make it really easy to line up the stencil. So.
Thanks, friends. Glad you're liking our cards so far. I love how different colors, like very different colors they are.
I know. gonna give such a different look. Okay, and I'm going for Lush Forest again, just like whatever one you use there. That's a darker color that I think it was Regal Kiss that you were like, yeah, go soft as I
Yep.
can, but
But it doesn't really, it's not a soft color, so it doesn't really lend itself to super soft blending by any means.
yeah, as soft as possible. Kind of my goal on this one too, because same thing. I don't expect it to be super soft.
Yeah.
Best effort.
Best effort, exactly. Candy, we will be showing a couple more products as well besides this one. This is just the
Yes,
start.
indeed. And I think we'll have more sneak peeks starting soon on social media as well.
Yep, they're gonna start this afternoon, so definitely be on the lookout every day through the weekend for sneak peeks of all of our upcoming products that will go live on Monday.
Okay.
Okay.
Getting my next two colors out. So whenever you're ready, let me know.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go.
All right, there we go. Now it's starting to look alive.
Yes. Funny how those later layers just start to come together more and more.
Absolutely. Oh, right. I am going back to stencil 3, which is the layer Heather just did. And like she said, there are some leaves in there that did not get ink blended on that first stencil, which makes it really super easy to line the second layer of greenery up.
Right. Barb's wondering if we're both ready for a fun and inky upcoming. I wonder what weekend she might be talking about.
I'm not sure what she's talking about, Heather. Yes, Barb, we
Oh my
are.
God.
This coming weekend is our Create and Connect card making weekend. So Heather and I will be busy little bees all weekend with teaching and also moderating, keeping everything organized, answering questions, helping the instructors, all of that. So yeah, we definitely have a fun-filled, crafty weekend ahead of us.
Indeed. Right. Sarah said that she feels like she should pull out some of her Pink Fresh products and craft along. You absolutely should.
I think that's a great idea. You should do that, totally. We would love that. And then you can share with us what you've created during the live. That would be so much fun. I love when people do that.
Yep. And when we're not sneak peeking new stuff, I've sometimes seen people, because we usually try and post what we're using a little bit before we actually go
Yeah.
live. So sometimes people will pull out the same stuff when it's not brand new and they actually have it or something similar.
Yeah. You know what? While we're blending here, let's chat about the fact that you can craft with us every
That's
single month
right.
via a Zoom meeting, and technically March registration is open. So Heather and I host a fun, affordable Create and Connect event each month called Craft Along. It takes place on one Friday evening each month, and it's a Zoom meeting. So you technically get to craft along with us in person. And so registration and bundle purchase are currently available. You can find that on our website under the event tab. And we would love for you to join us in March if that's something that you would be interested in doing.
So much fun. We love it.
We do. We have
All right.
so much fun. It's so much fun to see everybody's cards, and for the people that do have their video on, which is not necessary, it's not required by any means, but it's fun
No.
to see. It's fun to watch the people crafting that do feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Right. Are we ready?
Love it. I'm ready. Ready, set.
Okay. Final reveal.
Ta-da!
That
Although
extra
mine, I still feel
paper
like
from
until
each other. I love it.
I said until I stamp my black over the back, it's not really my final reveal, but kind of.
That's true. You do have a little bit more to do. And I know the foiling is hard to see on this one because I did it in Aura, but there's a little glare right there, or excuse me, prism. And just look at how pretty that is. I'll just kind of do this and clean up my desk while Heather um finishes up her stamping there.
That detailed black stamping, I think that's going to be super fun on this and really make it pop. It's really pretty as is. Let me even just hold that up again. So soft and pretty, but I think it's going to be.
That is so pretty. I love it. I've got so much tape everywhere. I'm gonna clean my brushes up here real quick while you're doing that.
Let's see. This is the moment of truth. It's always a little scary.
Hold your breath. Ah! Because
Oh, that's
holding your
perfect.
breath. Holding your breath
I
always
know.
works.
It totally helps. Kind of like if you're driving on a narrow road, anyone else like suck in, like you're gonna get smaller because that totally fixes your car too.
Absolutely. Okay, does anybody else do this? If I'm trying to see something a little bit better and I'm struggling with it, I turn my radio down.
Absolutely.
Like that's gonna
Every
help
time.
me see something better.
I can't see. I need to turn the volume down. Yeah, I know. I think
And for some
everybody
reason it
does that.
works. It literally works for some reason.
I think it's like our brain can focus on one thing.
Exactly. It's
All
so
right.
funny.
I think
Okay.
I've got all of that. Let me just make sure I've got all those little nooks and crannies stamped as well as I want to. All right. And that made that image pop so much more. It's just crisp and bright and bold now. And I'm going to take a second and clean the detail black
Pretty.
off of that.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start die cutting my panel out.
Go
Or
ahead.
getting it ready to anyway, while Heather is doing that.
And then we're ready to start pulling out our next thing to sneak peek too, right?
Yep, we sure are.
Build the anticipation a little. Does that mean?
Never. It's never mean. Okay, just you just for to show you guys, the inner and outer die on this one are separate so that you have a choice. You don't have to cut out the middle if you don't want to. You can leave it as a panel, or you can cut out only the middle and turn it into more of a window. So, and then of course you can use them together to turn it into more of like a frame. Super versatile. We love doing that at Pink Fresh when we can.
All right.
I'm
And you're
going to
probably
do
going
the
to cut
outer
yours
frame.
both together.
I actually think I'm going to cut the outer frame first and then cut the inner frame out second.
Got it. Okay. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do my inner first so we can kind of show the different ways they look with just
Oh,
one
good
frame.
idea. Good idea. All right, I'll be back. I'm going to cut mine out real quick.
Go for it. And I'm getting mine all taped in place here. So many fun little detail bits on these frame pieces that I'm kind of excited about. I think cutting out the center of this would be a really fun way to turn it into a shaker card too. In fact,
Actually, well, I am turning mine into a shaker card today, but we're going to do an edge
but a
to edge
different.
shaker card. So a little different technique. Okay. Let me get that popped out of here real quick. So to show you, here is the frame the element without cutting out the middle for now. It's really pretty and it gives you so much area here that you can stamp your sentiment directly to it or something along those lines. So really versatile. And I'll let you show just cutting out the inner part. I'm going to poke out the chest.
Suddenly wondering, maybe I want to turn mine into a shaker and just only cut the inner. Now that I did that, I'm like, I didn't really even think about that in advance.
Show two different types of shakers.
Uh-huh.
We could.
Having a
totally
thought.
Up to you.
We could do that. Let me cut out all my little inner pieces, and then maybe I'll pull
all
out
those little chads out.
Yep, there's so many fun little details in this one. I love that.
There really are. It's such a great frame. It's such a great frame. And then once you poke out those little chads, like the image just like even comes more to life in there. I love it. Okay, I am going to cut my inner piece out, so I'm going to go ahead and get going on that as well.
I'm grabbing there we go. I'll just grab one of my stitched rectangles for now because I might just trim. Actually, do I want to? Now I got to decide. Do I want to do this or just the nested rectangle so it's a full panel?
It's a full panel.
I don't know. I think I'm just going to trim it down for now and then I'll decide if I want to
And
do a
make
stitched
sure
and cut it off.
you have this flipped the right way because I almost cut some leaves off.
Oh. That would be sad.
One of
Okay.
those ones where it
I'm
would be
gonna
smart to mark
put
it.
the little dot.
Put the
Mm-hmm.
little dot where the top is.
All right. I'm going to pull out our nested rectangles because one of my favorite things about that is the largest die is exactly A2 sized, which takes some of the guesswork of I could trim it down, but to make sure I have it all just evenly spaced, this makes my life a little bit easier. So I'm going to do that for now.
And now that I'm looking at it, it actually might be exactly the same on each side. I didn't realize that those were open.
Oh.
Open areas in between those leaves because it looks exactly the same on the other edge. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out so you guys can see the whole frame.
Okay. Now, I am really actually liking that. I think I am gonna, whether I do a shaker or not, I think I'm just gonna keep that panel kind of as is and just leave the window on it because I like that. It's a little bit of a different look. Look at that. How pretty is that?
That is really, really pretty. I like it too. All right, so now we've got the inner piece cut out, which I love. I can use that to stamp a sentiment or something on. Whoa.
I know I
I
kept
just
mine
flung
for
it
that
across.
too.
I just flung it across the room.
Bo Gilmore, Leah, you might want to explain what you meant about putting a dot on the, not on the card, but it's on the die.
Oh,
You put
so sometimes if you have a die, and I did notice that this die is actually technically exactly the same flipped, so not necessary. But if it were a little different, you can always put a little Sharpie mark on the die that tells you either where the top is or where the corner is, something to remind you to align it properly. So if that was the case, if this die wasn't the same top to bottom, I would put a little Sharpie mark where it needs to align at the top. I didn't realize until after the fact that it actually is just exactly the same.
And then if she does that, then she also marks on the top of the back of the packaging, so you know where the
Yep.
dot goes in this place. So
Yeah.
no,
So
oh my
once I
goodness.
get the little
Okay.
chads poked out of here, you can see just how awesome this frame is in total. It's really, really cool, guys.
And then I'm going to pull out the next sneak peek item as soon as you do that. The backgrounds that we're going to use.
I think somebody asked if this tool is new. It's not. We've had it, we released it a while back. This is just our dual tip embellishment tool. It has the craft pick on one end and the embellishment wax tip tool on the other. And look at how fun that turned out, guys. Put my hands under there so you can see the cutouts. They're so great.
Two different ways. And actually there's three different ways because you could cut the outer and not. So we've got all the options here.
Absolutely. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Ready for that next sneak peek?
are you ready to pull out the next part?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm ready too.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Hello.
We have a couple of better pressed backgrounds.
They're really cool. Mine is called Stippled Plaid. It is
Mine
super
is,
fun.
mine's called Dotted Petals. So it's a really detailed. In fact, I already have one. I also have that one with the press plate with art ink. Someone asked real quick about that embellishment tool. If more wax tips are coming soon. I know at some point we have plans to pop them in the store, but when they come, you get two spare ones. And I still haven't changed out of my first one and I use it all the time.
Yeah, I'm the same. I
So
haven't used mine yet, even.
check your packaging because there's more hiding in there if you haven't grabbed them yet.
I will apologize because this die cut machine really throws off my exposure, so I'm going to try to kind of get it as much off camera as possible.
Yeah.
I don't know why it does
Okay.
that, but
And I think
so
we're both,
Heather is better pressing hers, and I am going to just dry emboss mine.
but I'm going to better press mine without ink just to get
Yeah.
that letterpress look. So it's going to be a similar look. The difference is that I'm using, let me grab the packaging.
Yes, Connie, this plate is part of our, this is part of the sneak peek. This is from our upcoming release on Monday.
Yes. So I'm going to use the cotton cardstock from Spellbinders.
Perfect. And I'm just going to use my standard Hammermill white cardstock so you can see the difference between the two because they will dry emboss differently this way.
Yeah.
Heather, I'm going to let you go ahead and do yours, and then I'll
Okay.
explain the sandwich for
That's
mine.
probably a good idea since we're both
Okay.
doing two different.
Yeah.
So I could ink this up really easily, and I even thought about doing it in like a really soft ink, but I really just want to keep it kind of neutral because this is a really detailed plate, and I don't want to overwhelm what I have on the front by making the background too crazy. So this is going to be really simple. Let me move this out of the way. I've just got this lined up in that panel there. I taped my cardstock right on the top. I'm going to put that top plate on and run it through my Platinum 6.
I'm going to answer a question really quick while you're doing that, Heather. Sonia has asked, are both those plates better press plates? Yes, Sonia, they are technically press plates, but keep in mind they work in the better press. You can also hot foil them on any leading hot foil system in in the industry. And then I'm going to show you how to use them to dry emboss without the better press. I'm just going to use my Platinum 6 and the universal plates to do it.
I wish this showed up better on camera. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's a beautiful, just soft texture on the background.
Very
Really
pretty.
fun. Probably like halfway invisible, but I promise it's beautiful.
Mine is probably going to be the same way because I'm also doing it on white, but we're still going
Yep.
to go with it. So I'm going to go ahead and dry emboss the stippled plaid. So let me give you the sandwich recipe that I use for this. So I start with the platform base, which is A. Then I add on the platform top, which is B. And then I go ahead and oopsies, add the rubber embossing mat, which is E. This is where I changed my plate recipe up a little bit. This has a got there we go. I think tape pulled up somehow on that little piece. This is where I change it up a little bit from what some of the other sandwiches are out there. I feel like I get better results this way. So once you have added down that rubber embossing mat, I line up my cardstock panel with the press plate, flip it over, and I actually place it down into that rubber embossing mat. And I'm also going to tape it in place so that it doesn't move on me when it runs through the machine. Now, I do feel like this one needs a shim. So this is a 130-pound cardstock shim. Oops, sorry about that. Knocked my camera. And then finally is, let me flip that around, the cutting plate, which is C. And so I am going to just run this back and forth through my system. I'm going to go front and back on it just to make sure I get a good impression. And let's take a look. And there we have it. It is nice and soft. I know it's hard to see the actual plaid marks in it, but it's a little bit softer and a little bit different than the embossing that the Better Press does. So I just love that you can really achieve so many different looks with one product by
Yeah,
using it in different ways, whether you foil, you better press, you dry emboss with your better press, or you dry emboss with your standard plates. So many options.
for sure. All right, and I am going to turn mine into a shaker card. So we'll just show two different ways to make it a shaker card.
But
And
all right,
actually, and I think,
sorry, what?
nope, nope, go ahead.
I'm just going to go ahead and die cut my panel with a stitch rectangle just to cut it down, give it a nice little finished edge.
And I
And I
think I'm
think
just
that
going
will
to
be
add
nice.
a hint of color gradient over. I think that's going to help that embossing just show up a little more on that cotton paper. So nothing like crazy, but just like a little hint of color with those same colors I used on the flowers.
Very cool.
Decided, why not? If I don't like it, I'll just re-emboss it or better press it in that color.
Absolutely.
So I think that's going to be really pretty though. Hopefully that's making that background kind of pop a little more. I bet you can see that texture just a little now.
Oh, goodness, that did not cut very well. I think I needed to use my other cutting sandwich. Oopsies.
Oops.
Oh well, I'll just trim it. It's fine. I have different cutting sandwiches that I prefer for different types, different die types, and I realized I picked the wrong one for my essential dies. That's okay. It's easy to trim because the cutting line was there. So
Okay, let's see how that looks. I think that's good. That's going to add just a little something to the background. I really liked it in the white, but like it just made it show up a little bit better by adding a little bit of ink blending to that. Can you guys see that texture a little more now? I hope so.
pretty.
I did see somewhere back someone asking about embossing with a Gemini dry embossing like that. I know there's a sandwich, I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest and tell you guys I don't really know it very well because I just have found I get easier, better results with my platinum. So that might be something you need to just like Google search on that because I don't know it off the top of my head.
I feel like Carissa Wiley figured it out once, but I don't remember
Yeah,
where.
I am doing a shaker card as well, but I'm doing it a little different than Heather's. I'm gonna do an edge to edge shaker card using just some plastic packaging that I have left over on hand. So
All
I'm
right.
prepping the back of my panel because this panel is what is going to be the base for my shaker element. So I am just adding double-sided tape to the back of it to be able to adhere down my plastic packaging to it.
And I'm just adding my acetate backing to my frame so that I have something to hold all of my shaker bits inside. This is going to be really pretty.
So you'll see I have this piece of packaging that I have trimmed down to the right size. It even had a little bit of that stickiness to it. So I am going to go ahead and start. I'm only going to remove the release paper from one side so far. And I am going to adhere it down one side at a time to create the shaker element. So I'm just folding this packaging over and gluing it down on each edge. I'm going to leave the top open and then pour my shaker ingredients into it before we close it up.
I love these different ways of creating a shaker card.
Me too. So you'll notice when you create these, you have a little bit of excess flaps, and I just like to trim those off to avoid making it a little too thick. So if you just go ahead and trim those down, not too close, because you don't want to create a hole that your shaker mix can um, escape from. We don't want any of that to happen. But now we have our top and we can add our shaker mix right in here before we close it up.
And one thing I've
So
learned when I do it this way is to make sure and use the powder tool around the edge. Then you don't have that little bit of sticky adhesive that your shaker
that's
fillings want
really
to clean.
smart. That's really, really smart. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. This is just a mix I've made of like little remnants of different shaker mixes I've had that I just had little pieces left over here and there. So it's nothing specific, it's no specific brands, it's just a bunch of different ones, and they're all just nice and neutral colors.
And then I'm just using some tiny, it's 3 millimeter sequins. So they're just little tiny sequins. So
I'm gonna fill it up a little bit more. This is a pretty big panel. All right, I feel like I've got enough in there. So I am going to go ahead. Actually, you know what? I
I'm pretty
may
generous.
I may grab a couple of Pink Fresh jewels in the colors of my card and toss them in there.
That's a really good
I think
idea.
that might be really pretty, just to add a few in there.
I'm just going to
So we're
put
gonna do a
lots.
little bit of purple. And we're not gonna go crazy on these because they're kind of big. And let's throw in some bubble gum.
That's fun. I'm keeping mine just neutral because I already have that blended background.
Yeah, I
I
don't have a
think
blended background, so I figured this might help. make that pop a little bit. And then a little bit of ocean breeze. Okay.
And
All
Kinnery
right.
just popped in.
Oh, hi, Kinnery.
So it's not me this time, because I know last time I commented and someone
Last
thought
time it was you. All right.
it was me.
So I'm going to go ahead and finish the top of my edge to edge shaker, get it closed up, and trim off that excess.
And before I close mine, I like to add a little bit of liquid glue on that foam for a couple reasons. First of all, it helps make sure nothing comes loose and leaks out. And it also gives me a second to wiggle around if my placement isn't perfect right off the bat.
Perfect. And then look at that. We have our fun edge to edge shaker. Super easy to create. It just
Okay.
looks super fun.
Right, and I'm going to stick mine down and then we'll turn it over and have that
And then
magic
this is going to
reveal
go on top, and that's going to be super fun. Oh my goodness.
on my fingers. Okay, make sure we seal that down really well. No leaks. All right, you ready?
Did you?
Ta-da! Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
all right.
Shaker cards are just fun. They bring out the
Aren't
kid in
they
every
so fun? They're just super
joy.
fun. All right, I'm going to add some foam strips to the back of my frame here now. So
Okay.
this might get a
Mine
little
goes,
tedious.
I say mine goes edge to edge, so I'm just going to adhere this right onto a plain old white card base. It doesn't need anything fancy. Because the excitement is from the shaker bit, not doesn't need a
Absolutely.
colored card base.
Okay. Oh, thank you guys. I'm glad you like the addition of color in there. You know, the Ocean Breeze jewels may not be a perfect match for the turquoise color ink I used, but I think it'll
Close
be
enough.
okay. It'll be close enough.
The iridescence of those definitely makes it kind of
Yeah,
match more than you think it would, is what I've
yeah, it
discovered.
does
So,
kind of reflect off whatever colors it's bouncing off of. So I think we'll be okay. It's okay if it's not perfect. This is going to be a little tedious, me adding these little pieces of um, foam strip, but
okay, I'll get this and then I'll pull out and I can talk about our final little thing that we're gonna sneak peek today. There's one
sounds
more
good.
stamp and die set that I'm gonna mix and match with one of the sentiments from this set, and I think Leah's gonna use just one from the other. But let me get this stuck down first with that little tease that it's coming in a second.
Right? I'm just over here trimming foam strips. Now, if you wanted, you could always cut just a few additional layers of the frame with the die set just from some white cardstock. That would also be an option. Just I feel like that would even be a little bit more time consuming than doing this. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to do it this way today.
Okay, here's our final
Go ahead.
sneak peek. I'm keeping it
Oh
here.
yeah,
It's a
it's a
new
fun new
sentiment
sentiment
set.
set.
This is called Happy Vibes. And instead of being a one-piece sentiment, they're all individual. So you can pull them off to stamp directly on your panel. So like, for example, if you'd done this and not cut the center out, you could have stamped it right on there. And then you can individually use the dies to go with it. So I'm going to pair one of these up with this little sentiment from here. Your kindness will always be remembered. I think it's a perfect little secondary sentiment. And I kind of thought it would go really good with just because you're my friend or hope you're smiling today. I almost want to do the hope you're smiling today now that I'm looking at it. I feel like that's gonna maybe fit on there. I mean, the other one fits. Well, you know what? That one really does fit well on there.
I'm going to use that same stamp set for my card today, just to give you guys another little sneak peek as well. And I think I'm going to do the love you, miss you sentiment. I think that's like the cutest sentiment on there.
I'll stick with I hope you're smiling today because I've already used the other one. So I want to branch out and use a different sentiment there. So
I am just going ahead and getting that edge to edge shaker card attached to my card base. So now we're good to go. It shakes really well. Super fun on that. And then I'm going to adhere down my frame and then I'll get going on my sentiment. And we're
nice.
probably done for the day.
We're close.
Or, I mean, we
Yeah.
got to pick a winner, of course.
And I'm still deciding if I want to add any extra bling on top of the flowers. So we've still got that to decide too.
That's true. That is very true. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that.
Okay. I'm just going to start stamping and working on my sentiment.
Perfect. I'm gonna peel off all of the release paper. I'm doing all the tedious stuff right now.
Yep. And stamp this big sentiment in detail black. I actually pondered, oh, you know what? I did not condition that stamp, so I have a little bit of smudged. So if you ever stamp and get not a great impression, I had a little bit of smuts on there that I didn't pull my eraser out and take care of before I stamped. So
Right. I
see
think I
if
got all the
that's
pieces
probably
off there. Okay. So now I'm gonna try to center this on my little shaker element as best as I can here.
and actually, you know what? I think because this is one of the initial samples, I actually have a little flaw in this one. So I'm not going to use this one.
Gonna pivot, huh?
Yep. Sometimes we get those initial samples and they're kind
Yeah.
of the first run. So, and I hadn't tested that one in advance. So we're going to just switch over and use the other one.
All right.
Kind of what I used to start with.
So I am going to grab my stamp and do the same thing. Get it, maybe if I can find it. I've got a mess on my desk over here, friends. There we go. There it is.
All right, this will be better.
You
Good thing
know
I
what?
started in advance.
I'll just use that little inner piece that we cut. I'll just use that for stamping the sentiment. Hopefully I can keep it where it needs to go. If not, I can grab another. But I'm going to do the love you, miss you sentiment. I think that's such a fun sentiment on this set. Okay. I am also going to take a little bit of time to condition this one because I haven't used this sentiment yet. So I always feel like conditioning them helps them stamp a little better because this one's a little bit more solid. I just use a standard pink eraser to do this, and I'm just going to rub over top of it. And
That's
then
always
I
the
did
first
not,
thing I suggest because usually if something like that happens, that's all it is. This one, once I peeled it off, I was like, oh, there's actual
you had a little
visible
flaw. Yeah,
fruit.
that happens.
So
So I did
always good
not,
to
I
double check.
forgot to make my cloth damp. So I'm just using a little stamp cleaner to clean the stamp off, get any of those little eraser bits off of it.
Now that I've done that,
All right, I
I'm
think we're
actually,
good and it should be dry enough. I think I'm going to do a colored sentiment
I'm just
for
thinking
my
that now
card
in
today.
hindsight too.
I think I might do it in begonia since the begonia and the mulberry blush are just so minimal. That might help tie it in a little bit more since I only really did the little berries and the little tiny flowers. I think that's what I'm going to do today.
See, and I switched, I did mango sorbet. I stamped it in detail black, but then I was like, I think I'm gonna like that better. So now I have options.
And
I can pick which one.
maybe I'll bring the mulberry blush in and just kind of make it a little ombre-ish. We'll see how it turns
Good
out
idea.
anyway. If it doesn't turn out, I can
All right.
always redo it. Not a big deal.
It's just a sentiment with a scrap of
Yep.
paper, probably, right?
Yep.
Right. The
So
secondary one I'll do
it's
black.
fun. I think I'm gonna do it one more time though, just to get it's a good impression, but I think I want it to be a little deeper than it currently is. Okay, let's do a little bit more mulberry brush on the bottom, and then to soften where that line is, I'm gonna add a little begonia over the top, and hopefully these line back up since don't have this fully aligned to the corner. And it did. Perfect. Yay. Okay, let's go ahead and clean. I need to make more stamp cleaner.
And someone said we didn't use coral, like coral reef. I know. Sometimes we branch out and do that.
Yeah. All right. So there, I think that's going to be a really fun sentiment. Look at how fun that turned out with a little bit of ombre. And that will soften a little bit as it dries. So I wanted to make sure I got it nice and bold there. I just think that turned out real fun.
All right. We just need to die
Okay.
cut that.
Go ahead and grab the die set. And just
Get
gonna
a
get my little
little
machine. Oh, we brought them out like
same.
almost exactly the same time.
Twinsies.
That's funny. Okay,
Funny.
and then I just have to find the right dye for this guy. That one?
With
Cheers.
the shape. These ones are distinctive enough on the shape. I feel like it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, for sure. All right, some of these little edges stick off, so I'm just gonna trim them down so it fits in my die cut machine a little bit better.
I'm going to cut both of these. I'm pretty sure I want the colored, but I just want to see it in black too and have it ready for something else if I do that.
There we go. I'm gonna take a minute just to get this nice and lined up. That's good.
Black is pretty, but I definitely do like the colored on there. I feel like with that shaker, it really.
Liz Reeves, I am going to let you in on a little secret about us crafting this fast. We fully had plans in place.
Yes.
We have not created the cards before, but we did know what we had planned to do. So I think that does help it go. We weren't starting from ground zero when we went live today.
I just feel like we need to clarify that. It probably on average takes us 2 to 3 hours to make a card.
Yep.
So there's a good at
When all is said and
least
done.
an hour of prep that goes into deciding and picking colors and laying things out. So I
Yep.
think everyone just kind of assumes we're really that fast. We're not.
We're not. We're not that fast at all.
Nope. Oh, actually, I'm gonna use the other. Good.
Goodness, one of those dice fell right off. There we go. I need to fix that, but I'll fix it later. All right. Go ahead and get my sentiment on there. And then, oh, that's going to be so cute, right smack in the middle. I love this. This turned out so fun.
All right. Should be my
Okay,
little
in all of the
secondary.
crafter math I have going on, I have completely lost my home strips. Huh.
It's a struggle.
Where did I put them? I bet you anything, I'm staring like right at them. I just can't see them.
Probably the way that goes. I'd give you
Yeah,
mine, but we're not in the same craft room.
we're kind of a little far away from each other. I seriously can't find them. I may have to just pull out another pack.
At least you've got backups, right?
I do have backups. Oh, found them. I found them.
All you have to do is give up.
They were hiding underneath my crafter math over here. So technically not my fault. I definitely couldn't actually see them.
I've probably done way worse to where you think they're not there and then you're like staring at them. Or they're in your hand. Yeah.
I do that all the time. Like
I
when
trim
you
that
look for
down
your
to
phone and you're looking
Right.
on your phone.
Absolutely. Okay, I was gonna do that in a banner, but that covers the flowers. So we're just gonna go to a normal little rectangle on this one because that just makes more sense for this. So that was just a little practice banner trim, right? Could have left one side, I suppose.
Absolutely. Right.
A little under, yeah. So I'm just gonna adhere these. I'm gonna use a little liquid glue to stick them down. Because I could do foam adhesive, but it's already really thick with the shaker element and it's gonna float on that acetate and still give that look of dimension anyway. So there's really no need to double up
All
on
right.
that.
My card is done.
Are you gonna add extra bling on the flowers anywhere or just call it good with the shaker?
I don't think right now. I think I'm going to leave it with the way the shaker is. You never know. I may add them later, but I think for now I'm going to just sit on it and see if I feel like they
Yeah,
need more.
I think that's a good idea. Okay, sliding that. Liquid glue also gave me time to slide that around a little. All right, let me hold up and do a shake on mine too. There we go.
That's so fun. I love shaker cards.
I know. Me too. So much fun. Cute. And look
Well,
how
those turned
different
out
those look.
lovely.
Same product, different look.
Absolutely. So, Kinnery, you'll have to let us know if you are planning on picking the winner or if you'd like one of us to. So just let us know in the comments when you hear this.
And if not, we'll start, one of us will look and pick. For now, we'll just sit and shake our cards.
I just didn't shake because it's so fun to shake. Almost said the wrong word. It almost came out incorrectly. Goodness.
Careful.
Careful. Gotta be
That's
careful.
resting a finger.
I love the little bit of color I added with the jewels in there since mine was that stark white background.
Okay.
All right.
Henry's still
Okay.
here. Like I said, she'll
Henry
pick a
said she's
winner.
going to pick a winner. Perfect. All
So we
right.
will
I'm going
switch
to go
our
ahead
cameras
and, yeah, flip on over.
so we can say our goodbyes and wait for that winner to announce. Remember, this is the
I
really
mean,
big,
do y'all see this? This is why I lost my phone strips.
mine's kind of hiding, but it's not much better. I'll make everyone seasick if I try and move my camera to show. So we'll
Yeah,
just, you can take my word for it.
absolutely. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today for the sneak peek release. Is there a scrapbooking live this week, Heather?
I
It's
should
not.
know.
There's
I
not.
don't think so. No, because it was just last.
Kathleen was last week, so not this week. So this is the only live this week. So it's a fun one, at least sneak peek, and we're giving away a huge prize, $493 value. Crazy. And we have a winner. Congratulations to
Lord.
Lori Erickson. You have
Woo-hoo.
won the entire February release. So wow,
Yeah.
congratulations.
So keep in mind too, if you were not the winner today, on Monday, there's still a couple chances to win that. It's like 3 chances, right? To win the entire
There's
release.
2 on Monday and then 1 on
2 on
Tuesday.
Monday, 1 on Tuesday.
Yeah. So
So
in
there's
total there are
oh,
3. Yeah.
yeah. So you still have a chance. So make sure and pop back for those and check
Yeah,
that
so
out.
don't forget to play along with all of our release festivities on Monday and Tuesday, because then you can enter in your chance to win again. So congratulations, Lori. Email me your to claim your prize. My email is leah@pinkfreshstudio.com. There's no H on the end of my name, so it's just LEA@pinkfreshstudio.com. And that's everything we have for you today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope we got you a little excited for the release coming up on Monday. And be sure to check our Facebook page and our Instagram handle all week long, because sneak peeks start this afternoon and they'll go all the way through the weekend.
Yep. All right. Well,
All right,
we'll see
guys.
you all. I think it's Leah that's live next week. So she will see you and I'll see you in the comments.
See you next week,
All right.
friends. Bye.
Bye, everyone.